All right, confession time, guys. My garage is too messy. It's too crowded, too cramped, and I can't get to anything. I did get some new wheels for my lawnmower, and I painted the Honda logo. I don't know if you can see that. I'm pretty proud of that. But, guys, to get back to the blue bike here, I just got way too much stuff to climb over, so I got some plans lined up. So, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this workbench, and I've got a skinnier one that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to build a shed right back here behind this back wall. And I'm going to keep a lot of my lawn and garden and unused crap in there and give myself a little bit more space. I did get a parts order in for this girl. I got about $400 worth of nuts and bolts and gaskets and goodness. So all I need now is some of that no weld aluminum repair stuff that you put on with a torch. I'm going to try to repair that bottom bit, the alternator cover flange, and I also have a tap and die set now. So, Blue Point tap and die set. So, once I fill in that busted tab, I can re-tap it to the right threads. So that should be back 100%. And as long as nothing else leaks out of any of the other things, I'm hoping it's just been sitting a while. And once I warm up all the gaskets, double check all the torque on all the bolts, I think everything else will be good. If not, that's a parts bike for a while. But, we'll see. We'll see. We'll hope and pray. I want to get that done before it gets too cold. Otherwise, that might be something I have to do in the spring. But I've got plenty of parts for that thing now. So we can make some more progress. And also, I can make some more progress on the red bike if I wanted to. I've got all the plastics inside to redo it. I've got the new spark plugs to put in it. I got the new rear turn signals I can put back on it. Just some other little finishing touches on this thing to make it 100% again. I'm really excited about the new front fender, but I don't know if you can see down in there, but the brake lines are pop riveted on. So I'm going to have to do that. I've got a pop rivet gun. So it's just a matter of fabricating, cutting those off and then putting the new brackets on and putting on some rivets, and then that way I can attach my front brakes. So, but I've got just so much cluttered junk around here, guys. I need to get this out of here. You can see over here, I've got one wall done and another wall done. So the short wall and one of the long walls. So that's going to be the dimensions of my shed. And then if you walk with me back here, I've got two beehives in the ground too. I've got one there and I've got one there. So I gotta be careful. But I've got my platform. So a lot of stuff I can do here with that space. That's what I got going on outside, guys. Hopefully that shed will give us some more space to work on the motorcycles in the garage and get some more progress made on both those bikes. Over the winter, I would like to do a little bit different topic, road bikes. This is the other half of my channel, at least what I want to talk about, and that's why I named the channel Nocturnal Cadence, because I like to ride road bikes in the summer at night, and not many people ride road bikes at night, so I thought I could give you a little bit of insight on what my gear setup is and my bicycle setup and some of that kind of stuff. I used to be a bicycle mechanic about 15, 20 years ago, but I learned a lot back then, got really into cycling, and know a thing or two, at least about the old stuff. So I could show you guys in a couple episodes about my cycling setups and maybe do some gear reviews. And then I have a new build I'm working on. I don't know if any of you cycling guys follow Hambini or Trace Velo or Peak Torque or Shane Miller, any of those guys, but a lot of those guys are talking about, some of the new hydraulic setups and the new Chinese brands and all that kind of cool stuff. So I took Hambini and Trace Velo's advice and picked up one of these Trifox X16 Speedsters. It's supposed to be a copy of I think Oompa Loompa Cycling his podcast, they said it was a copy of a Specialized Tarmac SL6. And if that's the case, that's pretty cool. It doesn't have a UCI logo, not like I care, but I got the whole frame set, with the wheels for about $1,000, and then maybe $100 for the bars and like $30 for the seat. But really cheap setup for a rolling bike. And then for the parts, I'm going with the new Di2 12-speed Ultegra. So it's actually going to be a bit of a mix because I'm going to be running the Dura-Ace brakes. So Dura-Ace rotors and calipers with Ultegra, basically everything else. Except I do have one cool feature. I have the Dura-Ace chainring because you can't get 54 in Ultegra, and I didn't want to spend all that money for a full Dura-Ace crankset. So I just bought the Dura-Ace rings, and we're going to make it work on the Ultegra. It actually fits really well. The only difference is you can tell down long ways that the top ridge is a little bit narrower on the Dura-Ace, so it's sculpted a little bit thinner, but compatibility-wise, works fine. The bolts, I had to get the preload bolt and the chainring bolts separate, but they're the same as the last generations, so no problem there. But yeah, I hope to show you guys that build as it goes along. I've got everything I need except the shifters and then the brake hoses and the bleed kit. So pretty much the entire bike there. So I'm hoping around Halloween or maybe a little bit after I can have that built. And in the meantime, I could do a couple videos for you guys on my retro mod road bike, and then maybe even a video on my vintage road bike. It's not anything special, but kind of a cool old 8-speed road bike. It's kind of traditional, but it's solid as a rock. I mean, that thing is reliable as anything else. So I really like that bike. I might showcase that in a video. But anyway, back to motorcycles. I did get the mid pipe in for the red bike that has the crack in it. So we're going to throw that on so I don't have any more loud, crappy exhaust, and before that crack gets any worse. And I'll try to send that other one off to somebody and get it welded up, save it, because otherwise it's perfect. But this one is in really good shape, just a little dirty, but it came with the header and the collector bit in the middle. So I'm glad I found it on eBay. It was real cheap. It was like $150 or $200 or less. But I saw that and I grabbed it. Not many of these left, and it has the conical tip, which is what I need, I guess, because that's what the red bike has. I figure just keep them both the same. So I also got a $400 box of just OEM Honda stuff, hoses that took like 6 months to get here, but they finally got here. And then I have chain guards, very important because one of them fell off. The one on the red bike actually disintegrated, and it's still the one from the blue bike for a little bit. But I've got 2 new ones now, so that's okay. And then just a lot of other good stuff, nuts and bolts and important things. Just enough hoses to do all the radiator hoses and coolant hoses again. So a lot of just little detail parts. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I think that's enough for today. I did get the upper front fairing connectors, the brackets, because on the red one they're all broken, so I got new ones so they won't flop. And then I got a tail light, and this tail light has a really cool mod, and it was really cheap on eBay because they did this, but the guy was actually kind of clever because there's clear light bulbs in here, and when it shines clear light down onto your license plate. Kind of ingenious, right? So you don't need a license plate light. I actually took advantage of the same idea and cut all this out and put in a clear piece of plexiglass. So all that clear light shines down onto my license plate. And I think I'm going to do the same thing on this because it's already it is what it is. Otherwise it's perfect, but that bottom part's all chewed up. So I'll just Dremel out all that and then glue in a clear plexiglass one. And we'll have that OEM look without that big floppy undertail thing, without having to spend the money on one of those hot body kits or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's a pretty ingenious and cheap way to do it. I'll show you guys on the red bike one day, show you how I did it. But I guess that's pretty much all for today. We'll get back to motorcycles hopefully soon, but in the meantime, maybe I'll have some bicycling content for you guys. So if you're into that kind of stuff, please stick around, and if you're into the motorcycle stuff, maybe give me a couple weeks or a couple months, or I don't know, it might be springtime, but we've got enough parts to at least put some things on. I do want to redo the forks, bleed those and put new seals in, and then raise the rear so it's actually the right height again, and put the right kickstand on again. So there's little things we can do in the meantime before we dig into that engine, but I'm really hoping just a little bit of that aluminum weld and a tap on the threads, and sanding down that flange face for the gasket. I do have 2 gaskets in case one doesn't work. We have a second try upstairs, so we can do a little bit more if we have to, if we screw that one up. So we've got some stuff to work with here, just a little bit of time, and whenever I get time, I'll try to make some more videos for you guys. So thanks for hanging out with me. Talk to you next time.